everyone, it's Stephanie, and I feel like it's been a while since I've been in front of a camera, but I had to make a TBR video to talk about what I'm reading for Nonfiction November because I'm really excited about it. So if you didn't know, Nonfiction November is an annual event here on BookTube, and it's hosted by Olive at ABookOlive and Gemma at NonFicBooks, and it's really just an effort to get BookTube to read more nonfiction. And they just do such a great job at it. So they do these 4 prompts that can really be interpreted however you want. This is Charlotte. She wants to be in the video too. But I just love how you can interpret these prompts however you want. And like I said, I'm really excited about the books that I've picked out. I am not looking at this like a to-do list as more as these are the options I am giving myself to read this month. So the first prompt is pastime and past time. So for this, I am picking up Journey of the Living Dead by Dr. Arnold T. Blumberg, and this is kind of the history of zombies in horror films. And it's really fascinating, number one, because the author is from Pittsburgh, I'm from Pittsburgh, and zombies are a really big deal here because Night of the Living Dead was filmed here, which was just such an important film as far as especially like zombies go and the way they're portrayed and just like what they started. Also, I think Dawn of the Dead was filmed here, so zombies are just really big and important in Pittsburgh. And I have read a bit about this, and I've kind of seen that zombies really, if you kind of look at the symbolism of what they mean, they are really a blank slate for societal anxieties at the time, like looking at things like McCarthyism and the Red Scare and all kinds of stuff. So I'm wondering if he gets into stuff like that, or if he is looking more at like literally what the zombie movie did, like technically. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. I also requested a book from my library that literally fits both prompts, both pastime and pastime. It's called It's All a Game, The History of Board Games. So both pastime and pastime. Second prompt is micro macro. And for that, I am reading The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. How little things can make a big difference. So on the back it talks about how like one person can start a flu epidemic, like one person can start a fashion trend. So I am going to interpret this as like micro things affecting things on a macro scale. So I'm excited to read this. Next one is Wander and Wonder, and probably like the most literal interpretation of that would have been a travelogue. I'm not a big fan of those, so I still wanted to read something that was like personal, so I kind of went along the memoir route, although the book I'm picked I wouldn't necessarily say is a memoir. I'm reading Madeleine L'Engle's Crosswicks journals, and there's a series of 4, and I'm saying it's not a memoir even though she does talk about herself and her life, and she lives in this like a beautiful like New England farmhouse and just like talks about that and like raising her family, because a lot of it is her views and her philosophies and kind of like what she's learned in her life, and it really just is like a hodgepodge of like all kinds of things, like personal philosophies, religious philosophies, like child rearing philosophies, working as an author and publishing and all kinds of stuff, and like being especially like a children's author. She talks a bit about that, but I'm saying it's not a memoir just because it is kind of like all over the place. Like she talks about one thing and then that veers into another thing and then goes to like another thing. So I can see why they're not called like memoirs. Like they're literally called the Crosswick journals because it really just does read like her thoughts. But it's really interesting and she is very fascinating. So I am enjoying that. And in her book, she's talking about the tired 30s and being a parent of young children. And as I am slowly creeping toward that decade in my life, I feel it. And it was nice to see it articulated. So that was interesting. I also have like another book I randomly downloaded from Overdrive called Wolfmen in America, which is about people who have cited werewolves, and I mean, like, I personally don't believe in like werewolves, but I'm interested to see like how this is gonna go, or like how this takes it, because the author has written books on like Bigfoot, and she wrote, I think, like Weird Michigan, so she does write about like cryptids and like cryptozoology and stuff like that, but I don't think she herself like is a believer. Like, I think she's a skeptic, but it'll be interesting because she's definitely like taking down what people said they saw. And I am interested in events that like multiple people have seen and kind of describe the same way, like that phenomenon. So I am interested to read that, just because it's like very different from what I usually read. And the last prompt is self and shelf. And for this, I am going to be listening to I'd Rather Be Reading by Anne Bogel. And this is just going to be musings on the reader life and being a reader. And it's basically, in the most literal sense, just a book about books and about loving books. And I really love hearing people and like reading about people talk about books, just because reading is such a solitary experience, and I love bookish communities like BookTube and Bookstagram and like all kinds of things. So I am excited to listen to that. I do listen to her podcast, What Should I Read Next? And she's been talking about it for a bit. So like I said, I'm excited to get to it. So these are the options I am giving myself for Nonfiction November. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure the lighting wasn't great, and I still have my Halloween decorations up because it's still Halloween, and I don't feel like I should take them down until November. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I talked about, or what book you're excited about for Nonfiction November. Anyway, like I said, thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye.